Now, with our island's liberation approaching, we also remember the solemn events leading up to it. And joining us right now, we have Rosanne Villagomez-Aguon and Senator Regine Biscoe here to give us details on the Manenggon Memorial. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Hafa. Thanks for having us.
You are always welcome. We had you on the show earlier this morning, too.
Yes, thank you.
So
thank
busy day.
Yes.
And now we're here to tell more people about July 8th, the memorial of Manenggon. Let's first start off, Rosanna, about Manenggon in general. Senator, if you'd like to chime in as well. For those that may not know, that pretty dark part of Guam's history.
So actually this year we are celebrating the 74th anniversary of the liberation, and it's really timely. We have War Survivors Remembrance Day, Memorial Day coming up. We also have Liberation Day coming up, and so our event will be July 8th. But a lot of people during our work will ask us, what is Manenggon? What happened there? And so it's really an important part of our job as part of the foundation to just educate the community and keep those stories alive.
Exactly.
So one really, like you were mentioning, a really kind of dark period of Guam's history during World War II centered around these concentration camps. And we celebrate Manenggon because it's one of the largest ones. So at the beginning of the war, the outbreak of World War II, a lot of our family members and those who were here on Guam at that time were forced to march from all parts of the island, from as far as Jigo to all the way down south, and they converged upon the Manenggon Valley, which is in between Jotnya and Talafofo. And so thousands of people were led to this spot, and they didn't know it until after the war, but they were led there to die.
Yeah.
And it's right along the river, so they were able to, the Japanese soldiers had brought them down, they camped out there, they didn't know what was in store for them. So it's just a real terrifying, lots of atrocities happened once they got there, and they were there for, months and years, and they had to live there with no shelter, they had to forage for food. Lots of really difficult things happened to our community at that time and in this place. And so what our charge is to really make sure that those stories are not lost.
Right.
We still have survivors here with us, and so we want to encourage our community to keep sharing those stories and keep them alive for as long as we possibly can.
Until the end of time.
That's right, and so that's what July 8th is all about.
Rosanna, we talked about it, and this is paying respects, remembering those that did lose their lives, but also celebrating the survivors that will be down there on this memorial, the occasion. So talk to us about what you have planned that day.
Yes, they are our honorees. Everything is geared towards them. And so we start off with the Freedom Run in the morning from different, like the Senator said, different areas of the island. We've got some agencies that are helping us with that. And shout out to them, the Guam Customs and Quarantine Agency, Guam Police Department, Guam Fire Department with the U.S. Coast Guard, Department of Corrections, and
we also have the Guard.
And the Guam Army and Air Force National Guard. Yes, they're a big part of that. And so they will start at different points of the island. They will be carrying flags representing the different concentration camps, as well as massacre sites from those areas. And they'll have a send-off ceremony with a survivor there in the various villages. The mayors are assisting us with that. And so they start their run to symbolize that march all down to Manenggon. So they will converge on Manenggon. Along the way, there are some sites that have significant history to it, and so they will stop at those sites and pay homage to the incident, such as in front of Father Duenas Memorial School, And so, so that will happen in the morning. At 2 o'clock, the march will begin. And we will have the roads closed to Manenggon. It's a one-lane road in. The site is not very big, so we're unable to, unfortunately, accommodate all the parking, but it will be, everyone will park outside at Elig Bridge. The roads will close from 12:30 to 5. We will have, starting at 1:30, we will have bus and shuttle service. So if anyone wants to go in throughout the day, they want to catch different parts of the event, they can do that. But we start with the march at 2, and that goes from Elig Bridge into Manenggon. And so the march is symbolizing that last few yards in, that last trek in. And so for the survivors, those that cannot make the march, we have a couple survivors that will still do it.
Oh yeah.
But for those that can't, we will have the bus and trolley service for them, so they can be a part of that.
So once we get down there to the memorial site, you do have a mass, I believe.
Yes.
You have a lot of things planned.
Yes. We have the memorial service starting at 3, so the march is at 2, the service is at 3, and the service there will be some ceremonial stuff, very minor, you know, and with welcoming remarks of Senator Lee, but it's focused on the survivors. We have the flags that the runners had brought down to Manenggon. That will be everything. Once we get to the site, will be turned over to the survivors. So the flags will be turned over to the survivors, and it's real interesting. They will look for a flag that is significant to them. And so that'll be turned over to them, and they will place those flags in their designated areas.
And what Auntie Rosanna said is spot on. Once we get there, our survivors are our VIPs for this event. Oh. Everything is about them, and it's an opportunity for them to come with their families, for them to have these conversations with their children, with their grandchildren, even their great-grandchildren, and explain to them, this is our family's story. This is the story of our people. Everybody on Guam has been touched by this in some form.